Hi everybody, this is the Young Playwrights Guide, and I'm Dr. Jim DeVivo. When I was in elementary school, specifically in third grade, there was a local opera company that came to perform an assembly for us. I remember very clearly sitting in the middle of the gymnasium on the floor and watching them perform a series of scenes, some with music, some without. But I was completely enamored by it and went off with my Trapper Keeper and my four-colored clicky pen and tried to recreate the script as best I could over the next few days. The goal was to have the script performed with a couple of friends during recess, but I couldn't ever find any actors who were quite so willing to put the script up on its feet. But nevertheless, this was the moment where I knew I wanted to create stories and wanted to present them live in the theater. It wasn't my first theater experience, but it was certainly the first time that I felt so strongly about the art form. And eventually in middle school and in high school, I performed in the plays and musicals, and then went off to the theater program at Niagara University, where I continued to perform, but also found my love for working with children, performing for children, and also directing them. Local middle school, I had the opportunity to direct some summer programs, as well as a couple of the fall plays. And eventually I went off to graduate school at NYU in the program in educational theater for my master's degree, and studied a little bit more about the theory and the work behind working with children in the theater and performing for children, and eventually found my way to a professional theater company here in New Jersey. When I was the new guy, I was charged with finishing up the previous year's New Jersey Young Playwrights Festival. Specifically, it was taking care of the mailing. Each of the plays that were submitted were read by two theater professionals and given written critiques, and those had to be mailed back to students. It was a program that had seen its heyday and had unfortunately fallen on rough times, and was probably headed out the door, which was why me as a new guy was given the task of working on it. But it was something I fell in love with immediately, and I thought back to my times in third grade and trying to be a young writer myself, and loved the fact that there was an opportunity for youth from ages 8 to 18 to be able to share their creative work and connect with the theater company about it. Unfortunately, there wasn't a performance of the scripts at that time, but it was something that we eventually were able to work out through a partnership with a local college, and I was the administrator for that program for a good 15 years. During that time, I worked with a lot of young people on their scripts, taught playwriting, brought actors in to produce the work. We always had the youth in the rehearsal room or at performance to be able to engage with the director and the actors, and it was a fascinating experience. And I heard from a lot of those young people how much that meant to them, not only as artists but also as people. And it was something that propelled me into doctoral study, again back at NYU's program in educational theater, where I looked at the impact of the Young Playwrights program on young people. That's been my journey up to this point. I'm now a middle school and high school theater teacher, putting a lot of my experience and the things I've learned throughout 30 years in the theater, putting it into practice with new young artists. And a few years ago, while I was working on my dissertation, I had the idea of compiling some sort of resource for young people in the United States who were seeking out an opportunity to write a play or have theirs produced. I never had the chance to do it myself, and as I said, I loved what I was able to do through the New Jersey Young Playwrights Festival. I knew there had to be other organizations out there, and was pleased to find that there were very many doing the same kind of work and feeling the same way I did, loving the work, knowing other people were out there, but not quite sure what everyone else was doing. So the Young Playwrights Map was born. It was a Google map where I simply placed different marks on the map for each of the organizations that I knew were out there, with information about how to get involved, deadlines, production details, things like that. I've been a part of a number of conversations with these organizations, trying to get a sense of what the field is about, how we can bring each other together, how we can lift each other up, and those things are still very much in discussion. And over the last couple of years, I've updated the map. It's expanded, not only to reach all across the United States into about 32 different states, but also to list over 100 opportunities for young playwrights ages 8 to 21, not just here in the United States, but all across the world. And while that's been great and a lot of fun, I've taken the last couple weeks while we've all been under quarantine for coronavirus to really reflect upon my work, and specifically on my work with Young Playwrights in this map. And I thought it would be a great idea to rebrand it and repurpose what this website did. So not only listing opportunities for youth, but becoming a little more active and outfitting them with the tools that they need to write. So writing advice, writing tools, various resources that can help them. There's certainly been a lot of playwrights and organizations in the last few weeks who have live streamed classes and opportunities for them. So it's sort of building off of that, but then also bringing in this ensemble of people with whom I've worked over the last few years in Young Playwrights work, but also exploring with them, what their journeys were to creation and how they were young people in the art and how they continue to develop their art into adulthood and beyond. I'm hoping that these series of conversations that'll be here on the Young Playwrights Guide YouTube will provide advice and inspiration and guidance for any young people out there interested in writing plays or creating theater or being creative in some sort of performance aspect, whether that be theater or opera or film or whatever. Hopefully there's a little something here for everyone. I look forward to starting these videos on this Saturday and Sunday. It's March 2nd and March 3rd, and continuing this series throughout the many months to come. Please do subscribe to this channel. Also check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and there's also a blog, youngplaywrightsguide.blogspot.com, which will be linked here in the description to this video. Thank you so much for finding us. I hope you will take this journey with us. I look forward to hearing from you, and wish you a very happy and healthy writing experience. Thank you.